Recording in progress. Welcome everybody to Purveyors of Health. This is another Thursday installment. We do this every Thursday at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. If you're not muted, could you please mute yourself? Today's guest that we have is my friend Marty Adams. Marty is originally from Central America. She was born in Nicaragua. She is a mom of 3 grown kids, and she's a grandmother of 7. She is a certified integrative nutrition and health coach, and she's very passionate about whole food nutrition. I met Marty some months back when I started working with Purium. I saw a presentation from one of my upline crowns, Lucy Mazes, presented Marty to me, and she was talking about her health journey, being a survivor of brain cancer. So that very much resonated with me. I reached out to Marty. She was very kind and receptive to me, and we spoke at length, and now I consider her a very good friend of mine. So I'd like to introduce Marty to you guys if you haven't met her before. Marty, welcome to Purveyors of Health this week. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for having me, and special thanks, of course, to Angelo and Mallory for having me here. I'm really excited to be able to share my story and what I'm doing now to maintain good health. So I want to, first of all, welcome you to my home. I want to draw you into my home and draw you into my office, and that'll come into play later on. But I especially want to draw you into my heart and tell you a little bit about me and where I've been. But I want to start off with an amazing man that has made a big impact on me. His words have, at least. A man that we all know him by the name of Hippocrates. And he actually was, he's known as the father of medicine. And times of ancient Greece, born in 460 BC, and passed in 375, but yet his words still live on. And that is, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And for those Spanish-speaking friends, que el alimento sea tu medicina y tu medicina sea tu alimento. So I believe that self-care is the new healthcare. And, but what's interesting is that I also think that with the circumstances now, that there's a lot of pollution. Our water is polluted, our air is polluted, our soil is polluted, and we are not getting nutrient-dense foods. Excuse me, my notes keep going away for some unknown reason. So self-care, though, I believe because of these things are now maybe the only healthcare that I think we have at times. So what I have learned is that self-care begins with nutritional knowledge. And nutritional knowledge is actually separated into 2 different areas. One that's called primary nutrition and the other one that's called secondary nutrition. But we're going to focus today on secondary nutrition. So nutritional knowledge is something that moves into our homes, our kitchens, and in our thoughts. And what's in our kitchens is what we ingest, what we apply, what we give to our loved ones. So that has played a huge impact on my health. Now, I didn't always believe like this. Back in 2008, my husband and I, we have 3 kids. We had a daughter that was married, a son that was serving a mission in Brazil at the time, and we had a son that was a senior in high school. But that spring, my father passed away, and he passed away the night before Easter Sunday. It was really traumatic, and it made a big impact on me. Later on that summer, just a few months later, I was back visiting my mother. I stayed with her for 6 months, trying to get everything, all arrangements, and getting her taken care of. But during that time, we started noticing some changes. And it started off with just hot flashes. And I thought, okay, hot flash. Am I too young? Am I supposed to be having this? And my mom would laugh and she says, You're going to be going through the changes now. Ha ha. You just wait and see. Well, normally a hot flash, for those of you youngins that don't know, usually it starts up and you're staying there for just a few seconds, max maybe 30, and then you go back down. With me, what was happening is I would go up and I would stay there for about an hour and then I would go back down. And that was very taxing on my body. And then another thing that I started noticing was forgetfulness. So at that time, I was a dance teacher. I owned a dance studio. And I remember teaching my dance classes, and I could not remember what I had taught the week before. And I couldn't even remember what I taught the night before. And then I knew it got bad when I couldn't remember when I taught what I had taught during the same hour of my class. I could not remember. I had to ask one of the students, okay, what was that? What was that I did again? Another thing that I had a challenge with that we started noticing is I couldn't get my brain. Let's say I needed to turn on the light. So I couldn't get my brain to tell my arm, to get my hand, to tell my finger to push and turn on the light switch. My brain was not computing. It was not working properly. Another time was I noticed that we lived seven minutes away from the mall, and having teenage kids, I knew how to get the mall. And I mean, it was pretty easy. I mean, I could do it blind, but no, I one time went 45 minutes the opposite direction because I had forgotten how to get to the mall. And I remember I called my husband. Somehow, thank goodness, my mind was enlightened, and I called my husband and I told him that I had gotten lost. So thank goodness he was able to get on the computer and to be able to figure out where the heck I was so that he could tell me how to get back home. I attended 8 different doctors for them trying to find out what the heck was going on with me. And they would say things like, oh, you're going through the changes. You're going through hot flashes. Go over to the store and go get this, little something here. And that way you are able to manage those hot flashes. Oh, you're depressed. Here, let me give you some medication, antidepressants. So that way you can manage some of this. So that way this can help you. What? You're gaining weight? You gained 10 pounds in 1 week? Well, Marty, you need to start eating less and exercising more. And that's how it went with doctors. I remember I begged and pleaded with one of my doctors, and she, after rolling her eyes, sent me over to an endocrinologist. Now, I live in Dallas, so I was able to go to an endocrinologist here in Dallas, and she did all these tests. It took a couple months. And from urine tests to blood tests to, you name it, I was getting it done. And I remember she came, we sat down with her and she said, oh, well, according to this, it looks like you might have a brain tumor. And I was like, what? And she says, what I want you to do is I want you to go and get an MRI over at the hospital. Sure enough, we go to the hospital, get our MRI done, come back to her. And she says, oh, I was right. You have a brain tumor. Now what I want you to do is get a hold of an endocrinologist. Get a hold of a neurosurgeon, because you're going to need one, and have them go ahead and see which direction they're going to lead you. So once I find out at this point, we thought it was called a pituitary tumor. And I found the best neurosurgeon in the country, and he just happened to be in California. So I fly out to California and I sit down with him, and we go through all these tests and all these things. And then I find out that it wasn't just a pituitary tumor. It was wrapped around my hypothalamus. It was growing and starting to wrap around my optic nerve, which meant that I was about to go blind. So after a lot of testing, and he hooked me up with a really good endocrinologist, which of course we really did a lot more with him. So this is now in California at a very well-known Southern California university. Very well known. These doctors are cover of Time magazine. They were just the best of the best, right? So they started giving me some medication so I could manage my symptoms. But here was the problem with that. One of their, as they call the side effects, was to make me dizzy. It would make me dizzy and nauseous. But what I was already experiencing was I was already dizzy and nauseous. I was already having headaches. And I don't want to say headaches. They're more like head pains, which there's a difference. A headache, you can go ahead and take a Tylenol and then it goes away. Well, a headache or a head pain, it was like something was stabbing me inside my brain. We couldn't manage the pain. So I decided for some reason, I just had this gut feel that I shouldn't take this medication because it wasn't helping me feel better. So then as we're going through all these testing, we find out that actually this little bitty tumor that I thought was little bitty had actually spread throughout my endocrine system. Now the endocrine system are our hormone producing glands. So anything that is like your thyroid, your parathyroid, your adrenal glands, all of those are within hormone producing glands. So we found out that now it's called neuroendocrine tumors because it had spread throughout my whole endocrine system. So I had 5 tumors in my thyroid and parathyroid. I had tumors in my adrenal glands. I had my uterus. If you imagine a uterus is round and imagine holding on to marbles and it's full of marbles all the way around was completely full of tumors. And of course, my pancreas was having challenges. We found tumors in my pancreas. And those are just to name a few. So what I learned from all of this during this time is I learned that there's no side effects. There are direct effects. So when you hear things on TV, oh, if you take this medication, you know, your tongue will swell, your elbow will hurt, and your eyeball is going to fall out. Those are direct effects of whatever is going to be is happening to your body. So I had found during that time that I was having all these direct effects of these tumors that I was having. I was gaining weight. Oh, wait. And then to top it off, I was diagnosed with Cushing's. Do you know what Cushing's is?
Nope.
Cushing's, you could sit there and you could eat like a bird. You could exercise 24/7 and you're not going to lose any weight. So I was expected to gain, you know, to be like around 600, 700 pounds. I'm 5'3". Okay. So I was losing my hair. I was losing my eyesight. I was having irregular cycles. My lymphatic system was out of whack. I was not sleeping. I was an emotional wreck. Bless my husband's heart. And on top of that, I was having these head pains. So then we finally went back to the doctor after we did all this testing and find all this stuff out. And we said, okay, so what's the deal? What are we going to do? And so then the doctor, the endocrinologist sat with us and said, okay, so we've got a protocol. Here's the final protocol. We're going to do the gamma knife. The gamma knife is radiation straight to the pituitary. So if you don't know exactly where the pituitary is, you're going to take a laser and you're going to go straight here from the side, right at the top of your ear, and then laser between your eyes, and where it meets in the middle, that's where your pituitary is. So they're going to do a radiation straight to that part. Then they're going to do chemotherapy for the rest of the endocrine system. And then I was going to be on hormones for the rest of my life. And to top it off, there is no cure for these kinds of tumors. It was going to return. It was going to return. And I thought, so why do I want to go through all this if it's still going to return? What's my second option? And the doctor said, okay, so the second option is going to be, okay, 9 months. And I was like, so what do you mean 9 months? I said, 9 months, it's going to get better, or we're going to come back, or what? No, we give you 9 months. And so I needed a hot minute. needed a second to digest that. I don't think my husband Rick and I we said much when we went back to the car. It just took us a while. I remember we didn't even call our children. We were staying at a hotel and we didn't even call the kids. We didn't tell anybody. I was trying to process this. And I became afraid. I was afraid. Do you know that the divorce rate for somebody that goes through so much trauma like this is 10 times higher than a person that doesn't? I was afraid that my husband, that in our 40s, my forever, that he would become a caretaker so young. And I was afraid of not ever meeting my grandchildren. I think, especially afraid, the one that really scared me the most was of forgetting my children's names. We came back home, we flew back home to Dallas. And I remember Rick had to go out of town and I went to the Half Price bookstore and I found a book by Deepak Chopra. Now, everybody knows Deepak Chopra, great for meditation, yogi, he does all this great stuff. But Deepak Chopra is actually, his background is he's a neurosurgeon. And in one of his books, I don't even know the name of the book because I remember afterwards, I closed it up, I put it back and I ran out of there. What I learned was in his book, we've heard of mind over matter, but what I learned was mind over brain. Mind over brain. So the cells have what's called a nucleus. It is the information of the cell. It's where all the information is stored for that cell to know what to do. But we can change. It's the brain of that cell. But what I learned is that we could change that. I could change the nucleus of the cell to react, my cells, so that they could react differently. And I ran out of there. I remember sitting in my car for a minute and I was sobbing because I had hope. I had hope. And I went home. I knelt down in front of my bed and I prayed. And I prayed to God and I said, God, please help me. Please help me because I don't want to miss out. If you help me and if you just guide me, then I will share information with whoever. I don't know who to go to. I don't know what to do. Help guide me. Now, please understand, at that time, I don't know anything about natural anything. I don't know anything about that. So I made a promise and then I got into action. And I, got on the internet, started looking at stuff, started finding different things. And I went to medical conferences and here I am, we invested money because I was out to find a freaking cure. I was not going to not be with my children. I wanted to find a cure. I went to medical conferences. I went to women's health conferences. I went to longevity conferences. If anybody's heard of David Wolf, oh my gosh, guys, he was just so awesome. He was so awesome. It was great to not only meet him, but to get information from him. It was amazing. Max Gerson therapy from, and if you know anybody that has had cancer, please listen to what I'm saying so that you can share this. Max Gerson therapy from Tijuana, Mexico, came to San Diego. We flew to San Diego and I was there for 5 days and they gave a training on how you can heal yourself through their protocol. I attended the Optimum Health Institute and in San Diego. So I learned how to eat raw. Oh my goodness, this was like new to me. This was new. I was eating raw and I was there for 21 days. And I learned about how being vegan was able to help the body, to help it heal. But during those during that time, I also went to classes, and that's when I learned when you have deep traumas, they can settle in your organs, they can settle in your body. So that way you can actually, you know, we have all these ailments and we don't know why. These are some of the reasons why. I also attended Sonovi Medical Center in Rosarito, Mexico. They do things that we don't do here in the United States. And they have a different protocol because of where they are right by the ocean. You were able to eat fish, but everything else had vegetables and greens. It was just amazing. I took a class on how to turn my kitchen into a raw kitchen so that I could learn how to cook because I didn't know these things. I also did my own homework with Dr. Joanna Budwig, a German pharmacist. You've got to do homework on that and tell people these things. There is hope. Dr. Neil Barnard, I learned about how foods, when we cook them, and what's seeping into our food from what we're actually cooking in. So I purchased some Salad Master that was like expensive, but heck, I was going to cure. I was going to heal. I invested. And so I got this, I went to a class on how to heal the way Dr. Neil Barnard heals. He has an amazing protocol on people so that way they can heal.
I got into 2 meetings at the same time, but I am. Oh, goodness, honey.
We're going to use about half this container.
Are we all right?
All right. So Adam, the best thing is you're literally going to show us how you're going to create like a full meal here. Like this is a meal. It's going to be calories. It's going to be, you know, nutrients. Like.
Yo, mute your damn thing, dude.
Cabbage. You guys can hear it.
All right, I'm just going to go forward. Okay, Angelo?
Cauliflower.
Okay, I'm going forward. All right. So, but what I learned throughout all of these things is I learned how to be open-minded. Because you see, I didn't know about natural things until I started going to all these places. And I had to be open-minded. And during all this time, I was healing and I was committed. And what are some things that I learned? I learned that I needed to nurture and care and love my body. I learned not to give credit to what was taking me down. I'm going to say it now, but I don't like saying it much. And that is the word cancer. We associate cancer with the, you know, it's going to kill me, I'm going to die. I personally just could not give it credit, but yet I embraced it enough to learn what my enemy was so that I could learn how to heal my body. I needed to understand it so I could heal my body. And I was healing. Now let's fast forward. So now I'm going to fast forward to a couple years ago. So a couple of years ago, I got so into this, and I was actually pretty inspired by Amy Venner. I was really inspired by her of everything that she was accomplishing. So I decided, heck, I want to do something with this. I want to share. I made that promise. So I attended the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I became a certified integrative nutrition health coach. And I love the word health coach because a health coach puts out an abundance of options. Because you see, I believe that we have inspiration for our own bodies. And so if we are in tune and we have options, we can start taking from those things. So that way we can apply them so that we can make some lifestyle changes that can make a big impact on our health. I now help others take ownership of their health, whether it be cancer, heart disease, diabetes, or just to maintain good health. I help them see what they need to do to take ownership, to take back their health. I stay focused on helping them stay focused on making these lifestyle changes. And it's every day, making lifestyle changes that can make a big impact on their health. So I focus on root causes because I learned in one of my classes at Optimum Health Institute, I remember my counselor there said to me, Marty, so when you were diagnosed with a brain tumor, what happened 6 months prior to? What happened 12 months prior to? And that's when it hit me. My father had passed away of cancer. And there it was. And it was so traumatic that is how my body manifested it. The stress of that. So now, how do I prevent and maintain good health? And this is what I share with people all the time. How do I prevent dis-ease? I didn't say disease, dis-ease, and maintain good health. I lay a foundation every day, and I lay it every morning of health, vitality, and longevity. Every day, I start off my day with that. So here's what I have learned. I've learned that there's 5 main areas in the secondary nutrition that cannot be neglected. And I do these every day. And I would like to share that with you. Over an extended period of time, if we neglect these 5 areas, what happens is that it's going to make an impact on us. We will suffer at some point. It's going to happen. So how do I prevent disease and maintain good health? I take in soy-free, gluten-free, non-GMO, beyond organic, superfoods as much as I can. I'm not perfect, but I do it as much as I can because, boy, I've learned I don't ever want to go back to where I was. I tell my clients, how bad do you want it? I have clients that don't last long because they don't want it bad enough. They're not willing to make the changes. So, would you like to hear about my five things?
Yes.
Angelo, can I share it? Okay. So here's one.
Yes.
Tell us.
Okay. All right. So here's one. Am I on good time, Angelo? Am I doing good?
You're doing great.
Okay, thanks. So number 1 is restorative sleep. Restorative sleep, tart cherry. It is the most single potent fruit on the face of the planet. It is. Here, hold on, let me see.
Love that shit.
Hold it. We've all seen
I
it. Can you
love
see
that.
that?
So good.
I know. Isn't it amazing? I've got some great recipes.
It is.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we can all sleep so much better with it. So studies show, this little thing right here, studies show that tart cherries have a natural occurring melatonin. So here's what's interesting. A lot of times I have clients, I'm going to give you examples from my clients of what I go through with them. So clients will go ahead and they will take Tylenol PM. They will take just all of these sleep aids, but I am seeing in them that they're getting very sick, very ill. Their stomachs. I've got one that has been taking Tylenol PM for 20 years. Yeah, they had to take her pancreas. No, her gallbladder, excuse me, her gallbladder. They had to take her gallbladder. So here's what's interesting. When you're taking all these melatonins, what happens is that it forces your body to go to sleep. It forces you to do something that maybe your body is not ready to do. When you're dealing with something natural like this, what it does is it helps your body create the melatonin that it needs and uses it when it needs it. It doesn't force you. So I can take this first thing in the morning, or by the way, I'm in Dallas, I'm in Central Time, and I'm not going to fall asleep in the next 30 minutes. It'll be later on tonight. So I can take this. Sometimes I take this because I'm maybe a little stressed. I've got a lot going on with clients, but It is absolutely fantastic. I've got several clients that have wine every night. And so then I always tell them, why are you taking these fermented cherries when you can take something that is a natural antioxidant? It helps to regulate your patterns of good night's sleep with natural anti-inflammatory properties. And they may even help with uric acid buildup and all forms of inflammation. So why would you want to take those fermented grapes when you can take this? This is actually called apothecary, but I call it my apothe wine for later on in the evening. So why would you want to take those things when you can have this? So here, I just mentioned inflammation. And here's what's something interesting about inflammation. Inflammation is actually the culprit to dis-ease, but let's back it up. Sugar is actually the culprit to inflammation, which is actually the culprit to dis-ease.
With the rest of the ingredients, this is so colorful and so vibrant. Like, I'm actually quite impressed.
So now, the next
serve it on
one,
top of
thank you. The next one is digestive friendly quality protein. Digestive friendly quality protein. Can you, I don't know if y'all can see this. So I deal with many diabetics, and my diabetics, everybody loves to have red meat. But my diabetic friends, red meat turns into sugar in your body. Red meat turns into sugar. So that animal protein that you're having is going to turn into sugar in your body. So instead of having that, why not have good quality protein? You could have other kinds of proteins, plant-based proteins that can really help. Now, here's another thing that's interesting. For those friends that have dealt with tumors and have been on chemotherapy, I have clients on chemotherapy that I've had to take it. Now, here's the thing. Red meat takes 72 hours to digest. Your body cannot afford, if you're going through chemotherapy, your body cannot afford to take that energy and to be processing that. Your body, you need to help your body have that energy to heal. So over 30 double-blind clinical studies for this right here, for these beautiful little proteins right here, 30 double-blind clinical studies say this. One, it improves your elasticity. So if you're big into anti-aging, this gives you the nutrients that your body needs to be able to build what you need for an anti-aging process for your skin. They are pre-digestive, not pre-digested, pre-digestive, which means that it does not go through your digestive system. So it goes straight to your muscles. In 23 minutes, 99% of this goes straight to your muscles. So now if you were to take the animal protein, or if you were to have a shake like whey protein, some of these other shakes that we see, store brands that we see on the shelf. So most of those proteins you're taking in maybe 30 to 50% is only absorbed into your muscles. What a waste. What a freaking waste to be able to have that, and it's harming you at the same time. So this, all of those have to still go through your kidneys and your liver to be able to process through your food through your body properly, therefore slowing you down. So if it's slowing you down, you're like after you've had a big old meal with a big old steak, you feel tired and exhausted. Food is not supposed to have you do that. It should help you feel light. It should help you feel like you're ready to take on the rest of your day after you've eaten. Okay, the next one is number 3. Did I put you all to sleep? Are you staying with me? Stay with me. Okay, number 3, nutrient-dense greens. Now, nutrient-dense greens, spirulina, wheatgrass, quinoa. Oh my goodness, amaranth, spelt, chia. These are just to name a few. And all of these beautiful greens, they are full of chlorophyll and alkalizing nutrients, dense foods that are gluten-free, plant-based, energizer, and with those rice bran solubles Yep, it activates our adiponectin hormones, which, by the way, it's our skinny hormone, you know. So now this is amazing. Let me tell you what I do. And this is probably one of the most difficult things that I think some of my clients go through. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have a green drink. Are you kidding me? It's green. That's gross. I hear it all. And these are grown adults. Grown adults, I hear it all. Wine, wine, wine. And this is all I do. I put my greens in here, put a little water in there, and it is so good and so nutritious. This, my dear friends, is what we call the power shake. This is great food. It's what I call, you can see it, food for the immortals. Food, superfoods for the superheroes. Right there. My husband does it with, he'll do it sometimes with different kinds of nut milks and fruits. If you have a hard time having it, that's a great way to start. Now, so that way you can get used to the taste, but it is, you will crave it. I promise you will crave it. It is absolutely delish. I just can't handle it. I just love it. Number four, we're almost there. We're almost there. Detoxification through proper elimination. Detoxification through proper elimination. So we're going to talk about something that nobody talks about. Nobody likes to talk about, but I talk about it all the time with my clients, and that's poop. Poop. We're going to talk about crap. So a sick colon is a sick body. So this right here, if you have a sick colon, it's going to prevent your vitamins, all your nutrients, all your minerals from being absorbed into the body. It's going to do it. So a signs of a toxic colon, oh, I go through this all the time. Bad breath, diarrhea, bloating, constipation, dull skin, breakout with the skin, especially if they are a lot of just blemishes. Your hair falls out, you have dull hair, irritable bowel, gas, just these wonderful things. Hemorrhoids. I mean, I could go on. So all I do is I put this in my smoothies and I'm ready to go. It's good. I'm good with it. And my body feels good with it. And last thing is gut health. Gut health, processed foods, and glyphosate. So glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup, as many of us know. And notice too also how commercials all of a sudden now are having all of these lawyers saying, hey, if you have been, you know, your body has felt you've been sick with glyphosate, you know, call us. We can, you know, sue the companies and so forth. Yeah, it's that serious. In 2016, the World Health Organization said, oh, it's probably carcinogenic. And in 2017, thank goodness for California, which I worked there a lot. So thank goodness for California. They actually came out and said, no, it causes cancer. So we're not spraying it on any of our parks. Fantastic. So this is a cancer causing herbicide, but it can also, what's sad about it is that it can be found in 100% of the people. 100%, everybody has it, 100%. We cannot wash it off of our foods. We can't. So we are ingesting all of this. Now, these two little beautiful little pills that I take, this is the one thing, there's a couple things I tell my clients. You do not stop taking this. No matter what, you do not stop. And that is these. These two little beautiful little things are powerful. It has been proven that they eliminate up to 74% of the glyphosate in 6 weeks out of your system. First and only product to receive the gold seal of approval by the Detox Project. which is a third-party validator. It rebuilds and restores a better microbiome, your gut, and it has pre and probiotics. We always hear about probiotics. Have this yogurt and you have probiotics, but we never hear about prebiotics. So this one has both, and that in itself is like a class in itself to be able to learn about that. So having these, it's better for nutrient absorption, better for weight loss, and better yet, it actually improves mental clarity, because the gut is actually, there is a, it's called the vagus nerve, not like Las Vegas, a vagus nerve that it is attached. There's a vagus nerve that is attached from the gut to the brain. And it is able, that's why it's called the second brain, because if your gut is clean, your brain is clean. If you've got all this stuff happening in your gut, it's happening here too. It cannot be separated. It's attached. It is, the vagus nerve is called the gut-brain superhighway for that reason. So I want to close for a few things, and that is, there is hope. I know there is. I have a testimony that when you can take medical medicine and holistic medicine and integrate it together. But I have a testimony that holistic, natural, whole foods can heal the body. If the body is given just half a chance, it can heal itself. It can. We need to help our doctors. They just don't know because they're not trained. And I know because I have clients that are doctors. They send me their clients. They send me their patients. And by the way, there's a big difference here. When you are with a doctor, you're a patient. There is no choice. This is what you do. When you're with me, what happens is now you're a client because you do have choices. It's up to you to have that divine inspiration, which I'm so grateful that I was able to listen to know what was better for me. So here I am now, almost 13 years later. I beat my 9 months. I beat it. Because I took ownership of my own health. And now I hope others take ownership of theirs. I testify to you that the things that I just told you in regards to whole foods, I know are true. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Marty. All right, that was great. Thank you. Great story. Great testimony.
Amazing.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. That sure did inspire me. Thank you so much, Marty, for being on here. Sending you so much blessings.
Thank you.
That was a great story, Marty. Really great.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
It really inspires me because I'm on my way to become a holistic health coach practitioner as well.
That's wonderful. Blessing others and teaching them that there are options. And that's the thing. I don't think people realize that there are. And I think it's also our delivery is important. Most of you here are with Purium. And if you noticed, I never mentioned it. It's a different way of reaching people. It's working for me. It's just another way, giving you an option. Not to say that I don't mention it, because trust me, everybody knows it's no secret, but it's just another option.
Yeah, your why and everything you presented, the way you presented everything. Yeah, I loved it. It was all beautiful.
Thank you, Rama. And if Angelo, if you would permit me to invite them, I do have a Facebook group. It's called Party with Marty. And the reason why I
Right.
call it Party with Marty, it was because there was a time that I didn't think I was going to be partying. There was a time that I didn't think that I was going to be having a great time with the hubs and my children, and now my 7 grandsons. And so I just post a lot of things on there about health and wellness. And yes, social media gets me every once in a while. And then I kind of go quiet for a while, but I always come back. So I'd love to invite you to become friends with me. I'm under Marty Adams. Both my husband and I are on the picture there. And then just send me a message, and that way I can add you to the Party with Marty private group.
Yeah, I got on the party train, and Marty and I have both are brain cancer survivors, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, talking with her was very inspiring because, the way you tell your story, it's so authentic and it's so impactful, because you're not trying to sell people on health. You're just telling your own testimony. And that's the best. People love stories. What do I say? Stories sell. What is it? Advertising tells, stories sell. So
Yeah. I think for me is I'm not trying to sell products, but I am trying to sell a lifestyle.
mhm.
And it's this simple. Making these small lifestyle changes can make a big difference in your health. And that's what I try and sell. And believe it or not, it's hard for people. It's hard. It's hard to break away from their habits. It's really difficult. Not everybody makes it through with me. I mean, I've had clients that I give them a simple something small as, okay, move your arms while you're in your chair for 30 seconds. That's it. Every hour, I'm begging you, 30 seconds. I want to do that. So not everybody does it. And we have to live and be the example. We can speak much louder by how we live. I know for sure that I know for a fact that I have people that will say, you know what, I want to try that. I want to buy that because I know that you'd actually do it. I know you actually live it.
Yeah.
Hey, Marty, thanks for sharing. Beautiful, beautiful story. I just was curious, did you ever get a chance to connect back with the doctor that told you have 9 months to live? Like, so, like that, because it's powerful, right? Because like you said, they're trained a certain way and like in their profession. And so for a raw foods healing story is super powerful. I'm just curious if there was a connection or you ever got a chance to see him again. And
Actually, what I was doing, Ash, is that I would bring in, I had a notebook of everything that I was taking, everything that I was eating, and I would come in and I would lay it out and I would say, oh, okay, because they would be like, wait, when we would do the MRIs, you're shrinking, it's shrinking. And I would be like, yeah, well, let me show you what I'm doing. And I was all excited because I'm totally innocent. I didn't know anything back then. And I would open up my notebook and he wouldn't even look at it. He would continue looking at me, completely stone faced. But it wasn't until later. And now I've got to tell you, I have a lot of doctor friends. Okay. They send me clients. We're friends. We have dinner. We go for walks together. I've got a lot of doctor friends. They're not trained in anything natural. They're not trained in nutrition, let alone primary nutrition. I've only hit just one small aspect with you of what's called secondary nutrition.
Most medical school students I've read receive 19.2 hours of nutritional training in 4 years of medical school. These are doctors in America. So there you go.
Yeah, it's less than 20 hours.
And then you got like vending machines in the lobbies of the ER full of chemicals and candies and sodas. And so that's where our system is set up. So these doctors don't really know any different, probably. It's not that they're trying to kill us. They just are raised out of a system that's sick.
You're right.
That's crazy though that you would show him like your notes and show him what you're doing. And he wouldn't even take a look at it. He just would stare at you confused. Yeah,
So
that's super interesting.
Here's something interesting. My husband and I went with another a doctor friend of ours and his wife, and we did a weekend together. And I was so excited because this was going to be my opportunity of trying to get him to like try a green drink. Oh, by the way, just to let y'all know, we didn't get that far. But here's what was interesting is I told him about what I did. I told him about how I deal with clients, what I do. And he said, you know what? You're ahead of your time because we actually need people like you in our hospitals. Now, by the way, this gentleman is over 30 hospitals throughout the country. Okay. He is head of ER with a hospital really close to us. And now he oversees 30 ERs throughout the country. So he recognizes that someone that has a background in holistic whole foods and learning about primary and secondary nutrition, how that can help, but yet he's still standoffish, just still very standoffish about it, which I was surprised about. But in due time, because they're taught a certain way, so they just don't know. Mm-hmm. And if they endorse anything of ours like this, many of them could lose their license. This is like a real thing for them. I just was dealing with a chiropractor. This was just like a couple of weeks ago. And if you look in my Party with Marty group, I show myself that I'm trying to teach him. He's in another state. This was oh my goodness, I don't know, 6 months, almost a year of courtship. And I talked to him and I said, one of the hardest, difficult things that I struggle with is seeing a doctor that's in front of me and telling me or telling one of my clients, hey, by the way, you need to exercise and eat better. And there they are standing there and they're not, you can tell they do not have optimum health. You can tell that. Yeah. And that is difficult. It is difficult for me to go to a doctor. And that's why I don't go as much, because I struggle with that. I mean, you got to be a product of the product. You got to do it. And one thing that I have learned is that just because you are, okay, I'm going to say it, y'all, because I'm kind of real. Just because you are skinny doesn't mean that you are healthy. Doesn't mean that you are healthy. It just means that maybe you might have something's off with your metabolism. I know several nurses that are this big, that are great, and they are completely constipated. But hey, I'm thin, I'm slender, I'm healthy. No, there's still things you've got to do. There's a gentleman that I know for sure right now that he is dealing with constipation. He's dealing with constipation, and let's see, doctor. And so what's their answer? Their answer is, okay, suppository, we're good. And I'm going to be offering this within these next 7 days. This is how we're going to start doing this and these two right here. That's what we're going to start with.
Yeah, same story for me, Marty. When I was going through, trying to find a way out of healing what was an incurable brain tumor, I would walk in to see many different neurologists looking for a magic pill that's going to solve it. And some of these doctors, even the ones that I actually liked as people, one doctor was a neurologist, and he would make fun of me for coming in one time with one of my green smoothies. And he's like, what's that crap you're drinking there? And he's drinking like a large, a Starbucks or whatever, just chugging it down. And he looks like he's like hasn't slept in years. And, so I'm like, yeah, it's green. And he tells the story to people when I was like in the cancer walks and stuff. And he's like, this guy is like, has this weird drink that he walks in here with. I'm like, it's weird. It's just greens. Like, it's just greens. Like but it's like J. Krishnamurti says, no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. So, we are taught that sickness is the norm, and 70% of Americans are overweight or obese. And, even a quarter of Americans almost are morbidly obese. So that's not a measure, but it's definitely a bellwether that we are a pretty sick society. And it's great that you can shine light on this to show that it's not a miracle. It's actually just giving the body what it needs, and most people don't.
Hey, I'm gonna just hop in here real quick. What's up, everybody? Thank you, Marty, for everything that you said. It's pretty crazy, because obviously talking about the status of this country and the people here, and just talking about doctors, and the one thing is just sad is that this is what we get when lobby has so much power. The main reason that all these doctors, the healthcare system, and everything is the way that it is because the pharmaceutical companies are literally paying to have major influence over what we identify as health in this country. And this is why we, can't get any help through insurance companies for alternative types of treatments, is because you need to buy their products. You need to buy into their agenda of what they're trying to sell to you. And it's not solving the root cause. It's not health. It's just something that's going to numb the body and pretty much just prolong your condition until you die. They're just going to suck you dry of your energy and your money. But just to go off too, what you were saying, my girl's cousin, she's a MD. She went to school for 8 years, and her family is by far nowhere near like healthy. They're the like standard American person, they're all, unhealthy, have all these health problems, obese. That none of her lack of nutrition and her lack of knowledge of nutrition and anything did not stop or hinder her ability to get her medical degree. And it's just absolutely insane, and it's really sad, and it's scary, coming into these times. But this is where we need to really fight back. This is where we shine, where we need to kind of combat against the narratives of the mainstream, of the pharmaceutical company, of all these big industries that are just here to make money and not really care about your individual health. So it's just when you hear people share stories like your guys' story, of coming back from something that the majority of the world and all healthcare professionals would pretty much deem is the end of the road for you, it's just inspirational and amazing. So I just want to say, once again, I want to say thank you. And that's the end of my spiel.
Thanks, Rob. It's true, man. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Marty and Angelo, it is such a big experience having to go through being told what you both have been told, and anybody else that have been told that they only have so long to go. And both your stories, I love you both. And yeah, both you are just so more than just inspirational, but you both give so much value. Angelo, you give so much value to me, and Marty, everything you've just shared within this past hour. Shoo, yes, I would love to join your Facebook group to connect with you and talk to you more.
I'd love it. I'd love to share whatever. I made that promise, and I will speak till I have no voice. I made a promise. So whatever I can do to help anybody.
Were you talking about David Avocado Wolf?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's so funny. Small world.
That's right, avocado. I should have put that in there. Yes.
No worries.
Hey, Marty.
To a whole different ball game.
Marty, thank you so much for not just what you do on camera, but what you do off camera. I've had personal experience with you, and she's the real deal. So thank you for doing everything that you do and purveying health to the truest sense of the word.
Thank you, Mallory. Thank you.
Yeah, same here, Marty. You're an amazing human being. You're an amazing friend, and you're just somebody that's really deeply impacted my life. And thank you for showing me how to do this business of health the right way. Thank you.
If you keep for partners, if you keep people first, you keep your mission first, and you're smart with your business, the money will come. But keep true to why you got into this, why you want to do this.
Yes.
You have to stay true to that.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. You may go a little slower than someone else, but when you do it with true love of wanting to help your fellow man, at least for me, I have found that to me, my integrity and love and just true honesty is more important.
Yeah.
That's right. Love it. Keep people first. It's true.
Man, thank you so much, Marty. I appreciate you coming out and sharing your story with us, and you sharing your story and how you shared your story. I was taking notes the whole time because I've been trying to figure out my route as to how to share my story, and I'm going to definitely be taking a few pages out of your book and putting it in mine, because I've got a buddy right now that's actually dealing with not colon cancer, but it's prostate cancer, and he's not only just sick, but he's not eating right, and he's got the cancer of the mind. You know what I mean? He's in that hopeless state of mind. You know, he doesn't know where to go. So I think I'm going to be able to definitely take some things that you've said. You and Angelo, man, are just both huge inspirations, and everybody in these rooms are. But I just want to say thank you once again, and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. And if I may say, we all know someone that is very ill. So here's what I've learned, and it was hard for me to learn this, is to understand that people have their path. People have the path. There's two paths. There's what I call, okay, this is the gospel according to Marty, what I call the divine path, and then the path that we choose. And sometimes it gets frustrating. Like I have clients, I get frustrated because I think all they have to do is take this so that they could go to the bathroom, something so simple as that, so that they can eliminate, and they don't. Or all they have to do is, you know, whatever it is, just do something natural, or go grounding, or get in the sun, or whatever it is. But the point is, sometimes it frustrates us, and we have to be very careful that it doesn't get to us. It's taken me a year, a little over a year, to finally get to the point to realize that I have to allow people to live their path, whatever path that they choose, even if it doesn't agree with my personal beliefs, or even if it doesn't agree with what I see, you know, who they could be. And it's hard. It's very difficult because we love. We're creatures that love. You can't live somebody else's karma for them. Ooh, that's a good one, Chris. Wow.
Yeah, no, to go off what you were saying, I'm honestly personally dealing with something like that right now. So my girl's dad, he actually ended up getting prostate surgery. He got it removed because he had prostate cancer, and I had sit downs. I tried to talk many times and try to, you know, not force it, but give them an alternative option. And I didn't say, hey, only do this. I said, listen, I said, you don't have to believe me on everything that I'm saying. I said, but please just maybe take what I'm saying and look into it. I tried to put them onto functional medicine practitioners as well that could literally work with them individually on a level and revamp them and do testing and go through the gut and everything. Gave them suggestions. And I said, listen, keep going to your doctor. I'm not saying to stop doing anything. I said, but you need to look at the statistics of what happens. I said, you know, when you go with chemo and all these different things, I said, I said, I want you to be around. I said, obviously I care about you. I was like, so this is not in any way, this is not a negative thing. I'm not attacking you or your lifestyle. I was like, but you know, like, it's definitely scary situation. And prostate cancer is an aggressive form of cancer, as well as brain cancer. And, you know, they just, you know, it is what it is, you know, they chose to do what they got to do. And it's rough when it's people that you care about, to see when, you know, certain actions could really be a life changer for them. It's tough to sit there and like kind of keep your mouth shut, you know, and not say anything, because it's like, oh, please just do this, you know, like, I know it'll help you, you know, but you know, you just don't want that, not to be negative, but like, you know, you see time and time again when people don't make changes to their lives, it's kind of like an inevitable is going to happen, you know, and it's just like, you don't want that to happen. You want them to be okay. We want everybody to be okay. So it just makes it hard to kind of stomach that reality when it's somebody close to you.
For sure.
Yeah, we have to
You
love
said it.
people where they are.
Yeah,
We have to love people where they are. And
sure.
we can't force them to walk a certain path. We just have to love them where they are. And when they're ready,
Absolutely.
they're ready. And maybe that's a test for us too. Is it teaching us patience? Is it teaching us love and compassion?
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
people come into our lives for a certain reason.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Marty, for spending a little extra time with us today, and everyone for attending. This is a great group today. This is a great
Amen.
call. Thank you.
Man,
Thank you so
fired
much.
up.
So let's get out there and spread health. And any final words, Marty?
Final words. Patience, love, understanding, compassion for people. I believe that we are here to be able to help others. I believe that we are here to learn to live happy and to be happy, so we cannot allow their problems either to make us sick.
You're right.
But
I would probably say.
but at the same time, we need to be examples, walk the talk. We need to walk the talk. And when we see somebody that is receptive, we need to be gentle and speak their language, not exclude them from our little circles of where we are. We need, in order for us, especially as partners, to grow our business, we need to grow with others too. So I would say, you know, let's get out there and let's just love and walk the talk.